Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Unreal Engine live stream. I'm your host, Alexander Pascal, and joining me today is our special guest, Chance?
Yeah.
Evie?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Evie,
something like
perfect,
that.
like
Yeah,
I
don't
mean, they
know.
saw me a couple weeks ago when you were out hanging out on a train.
Oh yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
haven't seen you in so long. It just becomes very
know.
difficult for me to remember sometimes
I'm
who
sorry.
you are.
I'm just your old friend. How could you forget me?
I know.
So
I'm a
sad.
terrible person. But in order to gloss over what a terrible person I am, I'm going to jump right to the news. Pow! So, let's see here. First up, the Unreal Engine Marketplace has had an update for last month. As always, we like to show these off after they've come out that previous month. So for February, we have an awesome list of great new content. 2D platformer pack looks super sweet. A lot of new blueprint shooter packs.
Cool, third-person shooter shot.
Nice new robot characters.
Nice.
Actually, there's a lot
Robo
of
Recall.
characters. Yes, you could feel free to download these and put them into Robo Recall for funsies and make a swamp level or any of these other fantastic kinds of packs turned into a level. Also, put in some really cool elements. Lewis has new elements that you can check out from particle systems that he's built.
Nice.
These are really fancy looking. Yeah, and lots of nice new content. As the usual, come out, check it out. If you're building a game and you need some nice placeholder stuff, or if you're just making something and you don't care if it's pre-made or not. And oh, sweet, this is cool. It's like a
1,000 bullets.
yeah, it's a bullet hell genre maker. That looks
Nice.
neat. Okay, that's cool. Lots of fun plugins. Check them out. And yes, if you've made something cool, please don't forget to submit to our marketplace. Our marketplace team is always very interested in checking out your content and would love to have your high quality stuff put up for sale. Shout out
great.
Stephanie. Great work out there.
Oh, you're not
GDC.
going to read every single one?
No,
Okay.
every single individual pack. No.
Yeah. If you're looking for more information about what's available now, you can go over to the site. There's a ton of great new things here on the blog, or just head to Marketplace, unrealengine.com/marketplace, or Marketplace in the launcher.
Yep, it's pretty cool. Alrighty, next up, just another reminder, and I'm going to do one of these for every Thursday, and I'm probably going to do a bunch of tweets in between to let everyone know. The UE4 Jam is back this month. This is the spring UE4 Jam. We're doing these quarterly now. We have a lot of new sponsors, a lot of new interesting stuff going on, and more categories. So just a reminder, you can sign up now by just PMing me on the forums with your team size and details. Yes, you can change them later. I am not a stickler on that. You can come back and say like, oops, someone dropped out. Hey, we got some more people as you find people. So please make sure to sign up. We only have a couple of names so far, but it just kicked off the other day, so I wasn't expecting too many. And
Example Team's going to be
Example
there.
Team. Oh no, the update didn't take. Okay, so I clearly have an update that's just sitting there on my PC that I hit submit for and it did not go through, so I'll have to redo that. But
What are the dates on this one again?
so just to throw it out here, we are going to be kicking off the actual theme and everything starting is going to be on the
End of March.
30th at the end of March. So the 30th, that's a Thursday at 2 p.m. As per the usual, it will last until the next Monday at midnight or Sunday at like midnight, crossing into that Monday, however you want to think of it.
Cool.
And then I will shut down the submissions. We'll take in everything that we have from that 3-day jam, roughly 3+ day jam. And then, yeah, we will judge them from our panel here. I'm actually talking to Ben Mears, who is wanting to also help guest judge.
Who's also in the chat?
Also in chat, and also Rox is part of our sponsors here. I need to make some updates on these, but Intel is going to be giving SSDs to all of the major category winners. We have, of course, the unique use of theme, fun factor, and overall visuals, as we always do. So that's up to 5 people on each team, so we can have up to 15 of these going out. So yes, each person will get an Intel SSD if they're on a winning team, and then we have lots of swag pack like bundles to give you, so we'll send one of those out. Same thing with the swag packs for the specialty categories. We also have best VR game, best Android mobile game. Because of some iOS limitations, we can only do Android for right now. We're working on it. And best game under 100 megabytes. Yes, all 3 of these could be the same thing. If you have like a Gear VR game that's like super small in package size and it's Gear, so it's
these
VR
aren't
and
exclusive.
Android.
You can win more than one.
You could win more than one,
Cool.
potentially. If you really do great, then we'll send you a couple things. For note, we have an S7 is what we're going to be working on, so be building for that if you do build something for it. Houdini's looking to give out licenses to winners. Panda Studios, that's who might be in chat right now even. That's Celeste. She's a seller in the marketplace. She is one of the first ever community sponsors. So Panda Studios, thank you for that. And I've also received word of another community sponsor who I'm working out the details with right now. And so I might even have more sponsors to talk about in the future. And I'm also talking to Algorithmic, who is looking like they're interested in also jumping in as well. So thank you.
They've been a great sponsor in the past, you know, for our other larger jams like Epic Mega Jam and things like that.
They've been a part of those and have provided for winners substance licenses. If you like substance, it's really great. And it works with a plugin just like the Houdini stuff does. And then, yes, Perforce server provided by Assembla. A new, very interesting sponsor this time is not a prize sponsor, but Assembla will be, during this jam period, providing Perforce server space. So you and your team can better sync up stuff, which is amazing, because if you've ever tried to do anything in a jam by passing back and forth a flash drive or working off of Google Drive. Dropbox.
Symbolic links. We've all been there.
Yeah, and kind of unrelated, CR Wilso just jumped in chat. That's Chris Wilson from Siege in the Sandfox, and I'm actually wearing a Siege in the Sandfox t-shirt today. So
it's good to see them at GDC last week.
Yeah, it was really cool to see them.
What's also cool about the Perforce server thing for this is like, you know, it's really going to help those distributed teams, right, that are all over the place. I know there's a number of participants that'll get together in the same room, but this should allow people to like learn a great new tool, right, like on how to use distributed source control, and be able to build something really great by not stumbling over the process as much.
Yeah, it was definitely really great when I was going out to GDC. I was on Train Jam, and Michael Nolan brought a actual like side laptop and a router. So he had the laptop that was running our little Perforce server and a router, and we had like a little indie game studio going, and it was worlds better than trying to pass back and forth anything. That's so great. Thank you, Assembla, for that great sponsorship. Yeah, just, you know, I guess I should also thank Victor Burgos, who made the connection there. He reached out and made our connection between the two of us. So thank you, buddy. And then yes, check out all of these links down there. If you wrote a Game Jam link, by the way, these were given to me. So if you've written a actual little bit of documentation on how to do jams better, etc. yourself, please PM me on the forums or message me however you can, Twitter, Facebook, etc. I'd like to get your link in here too. These are really nice and helpful. Cool. So that's my spiel for the jam.
Great.
Boop. All right, next up. Hey, you know what happened last week? It was GDC.
Oh, it was nutty. So much fun.
It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy. If you were at GDC, you already know how amazing and important it is as an event. If you came by the Unreal Engine booth and said hi to me, and I know some of you watching at home did, by the way, thank you. That was amazing. I just want to say thank you to everyone who came out and said hi. Without your feedback and you guys coming up to the booth and like filling out our surveys and actually talking to us, we're not always sure like what you like, what you don't like. So just really appreciated that and wanted to say to everyone who came up and said hi back on the stream. Yeah, it was actually very moving.
Yeah, it's great.
I had a lot of people approach me and say like, "Hi, thanks for the streams," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how you watched? That's incredible! Thank you so much." And it was humbling. So anyway, watch our keynote, watch all the stuff that came out of it. I feel like over on our side of stuff, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes scrambling, doing things, and trying to make it look as polished and clean as possible, as we always do. But it felt good to actually get to see these great new features. We got to announce new things that we'd done. I was actually doing this thing with like a lot of people where they'd be like, "Yeah, anything cool to announce?" Like, I don't know. You're just gonna have to watch the keynote. Please watch the keynote. Like I was on the whole Train Jam, just constantly like, "Watch the keynote."
Yeah, there was a lot of really great uses of the engine being done out there, and wonderful team on our end, wonderful team with all of our partners. And my only regret for GDC this year was not getting to meet a lot of y'all. I know there's a ton of you that were there that dropped your cards off and those kinds of things. It's always just a bit hectic. So it was always next year though.
Yeah. You could definitely drop by the booth. I know that every time we take a little bit to announce that there's going to be a booth, but hey, you can just kind of assume we'll be at GDC at some capacity. Yeah, we got to show off the human race during the keynote. There was an amazing little simulation of an actual vehicle over top of this markered vehicle. Pretty incredible real-time work. Lots of stuff in the AAA space. Switch support, Lineage 2 did amazing work. Randy Pitchford came on. That was really cool. I'm just trying to roll through this as fast as possible because there's been so many times that we've talked about it. Let's see here.
Adam Brummel.
Oh, yeah, we've got...
Came on and talked from the Astroneer team.
Yep, Robo Recall being released. We announced all these different things. Speaking of which, next thing, we announced Battle Breakers, which is really cool. That's coming out pretty soon. But yeah, it's a really fun little PC and mobile title. It runs very smoothly. It shows off a lot of capabilities of the engine that we don't normally show off, like the stylized look. The feel of it is very different, and it was made by us here. A couple of people were wondering like what studio made it. No, Epic Games. That was us.
Epic Property, a number of different bits of. Well, every team have kind of touched this over the last little bit.
Every team, but
it's great.
I know it looks so vastly different than anything that we've done, but in fact, yes, that's what we did there. Really cool. Check out all of the different details about it, and also go pre-register for it, because you can go pre-register on your mobile device, and then when it comes out, you can just go download it.
Cool.
All right. Another thing that, of course, we mentioned was Robo Recall, which is, I feel like, why you're here today, because I think that you did some production work on it. And look, it's your article, actually.
Yeah, so I wrote that.
I mean, I think you might be involved in this, right?
Yeah. So yeah, Robo Recall came out on last Wednesday. It was a wonderful project that we built in coordination with Oculus. We showed it off at OC3. We had it at the show. We had it at a number of different places at the show. It's high score competitions. It was super, super cool. The team is taking a much needed break right now. Or we'll probably have them on to talk through some specifics on how we approach specific things on the game. But it was we're just really glad to get it out there into the hands of everybody. And so if you have an Oculus Touch, you can go grab it for free from the store from Oculus. And we wish you would, because we really enjoy it. We hope that you do too.
Oh yeah. So pick it up now.
Alongside that. Yeah, alongside that was the mod kit. So we announced the game back at OC3, and we launched the game at GDC this year. And on stage, Tim had one of the last things we had mentioned was that we've got a full mod kit coming to Robo Recall, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. It's a little bit of what I've been working on for the last few months here at Epic, while Alex has been handling all the amazing community stuff. Thank you, Alex. But there's all kinds of great tools that are rolled out here, specifically for modders for Robo Recall. There's a number of different great things about this. Not only can you make amazing content for a wonderful game, share it with everybody out there that's playing Robo Recall, it's also a cool way to learn how we built Robo Recall, since everything is kind of inside of there. You're able to kind of dig apart a lot of our blueprints to some stuff that's pretty complex. As we've been figuring out a lot of this as we've gone, right? Like, this is the first VR game that we built out. You had Bullet Train and Showdown have been solving specific challenges or using new hardware. Robo Recall was like, okay, how do we make a game? How do we make a fun game? And there's a lot of that learning in here. So feel free to grab it, download it. We'll get to that here in a second, but so much great content in there for you to get your hands on.
Yep, and you can just crack it open now. It's right there in the launcher.
Yeah.
And this is actually the forum post for it and whatnot.
Yep.
So we actually have a forum section at forums.unrealengine.com. If you go into development discussion, there's modding, and then Robo Recall, which has its subtopics. You can form up teams here, find the latest info about Robo Recall mods, and just see things as they happen, pretty much live.
Yep. Yeah, this will be very similar to what we did with the ARC subforums, right, where you can check out different projects that are there, find people, get support, and then just information from us that's going to be dropping in there too. I'm sure that I'll be updating this over some time. We've got a few things that we're going to announce and release today as well. So those will show up here not long after this live stream. And so check it out. There's a few mods on there. If you've got the game, you can hop in here and grab them. And we'll talk about some of the other offerings that we've got for Robo Recall as well shortly.
Yeah. So just to reiterate on that, that's right. We're going to be announcing new things that you haven't seen before. So give us a second, and we'll go through all of the other stuff, and then we'll get to those. So next up, we have Community Spotlight. And it feels like forever since I've gotten to do one of these because it's just been like a couple weeks.
You've been on a
off.
train. Jess and I, we didn't feel, like we could adequately fill your shoes while you were gone. So,
So these people here, I'm sure, have been working very hard for a while, and I'm going to make sure that they get some proper shout outs. Black Phoenix with 695 karma. That is an intense amount of
great
karma.
for a week.
Yeah, in a week. It's a lot. So good for you. You're going to be getting a badge if you don't have one already. I feel like I might have seen your name up here though before. Mosley. A badge for you. You're, I feel, newer. Project Geist, I've seen your name around a few times.
Oh, look how close Pulp User was.
120.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Pulp User. You were so close, Pulp User. I wish you much luck next week. Same thing with Steph M. Like, when you get this close, like, this is actually cutting it pretty close. Shadow River, you are always on here. You always manage to make the list. Thank you so much for all your contributions.
Shadow River's been around since, I probably said this before, but
Yeah.
back when I was in the Rocket Beta, Shadow River was even around, helping out then, before 4.0 was even really released. So thanks for everything, Shadow River. It's been awesome.
Yeah, you've actually helped out some of our developers a few times, so thank you. And also at this point, I feel like I'm gonna have to give him a special, like, always on Answer Hub, like, MVP list badge. Let's see, Victor Rachels. It's a new name. Welcome and thank you. Robo Scorpion, that's appropriate. I mean, maybe you want to mod in some scorpions.
We
in
do have
Robo
little
Recall.
spider bot things in the crawler.
Oh
so
yeah, you can just give them like a tail and then
just flip one of the legs upside down and let it remain keeping
Yeah.
its animations.
Yeah, it'll be great.
MGN.
Munkbison.
They just removed all of the vowels.
Yeah,
so
just no vowels there.
just cast like a handful of them in there.
Mango Passion.
Great.
Yes, Mango Passion. That's what that's short for. Congratulations. Wormlock 83. I wonder if that's the year that you were born. Whenever I see someone that has like a year like a year number at the end, I'm like, I wonder if I can guess your age now. But yes, thank you all to everyone on here. The top 3 will be getting forum badges. Everybody, thank you though for helping each other out. As per the usual, I like to say, come down to answers.unrealengine.com. If you want to earn yourself a new badge on the forums, you just have to come and help each other out, get upvotes, get accepted answers, have your comments, get little likes on them, and you will slowly earn or steadily earn up karma until you're in the top 3 list. So, thank you, team.
Cool.
Boop. Next up, okay, so this is Teek's game.
This is TK421.
Yeah.
Why aren't you at your post?
Yes. Who I actually got to meet at GDC. He sent me this a little while ago, and it's been in my like backlog of things. But I finally got it up to the top here, and it's like it's time to throw it out here. Jumpaloo is a very simple but fun mobile title. I suggest you pick it up to check it out. It's deceivingly fun and addictive. At first I was picking up like, okay, I can duck, I can jump, I can double jump, and this is simple. And then he starts really throwing very interesting and complex movement mechanics at you, where you have to double jump while ducking in order to not
go through like a hole. Or like a little tiny,
eventually you're like, there's various like levels of holes, and you have to figure out like, okay, if I duck then double jump, then it will like let me jump through like a really low one, versus if I double jump and then duck midair, I can go through a high one that's skinny, and then it's like, oh my gosh, like I ended up since my phone didn't have any like online game availability, I was like on the plane the whole time, just like, okay, if I can just master the score.
We were talking, it's like a Twisted System, or what was the other game?
Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird, yeah. So Flappy Bird, Twisted System type deal, where nonstop movement and reaction.
Yeah, it really sucks you in, and then you've burnt, like 20, 30 minutes, and then the flight's not so long, and you actually like I feel like maybe that high score is actually worth it because you worked pretty hard, and the characters are cute. Like you unlock.
Jumpaloo! Oh snap! Look at that dog. Is that an onion, or is that a?
No,
oh wait.
It's like a rabbit. I
kind of thought
this is like a flipping cat.
I kind of thought it was a dumpling for a second.
No, it's a cat that's flipping over, I think, is the cat one. But yeah, it's inevitably you end up getting squished, and it's always a little bit like sad to watch him get sucked under the thing. But
morbid even.
It's very morbid, but it's fun, and it's just got a good, simple, like fun platforming thing.
Great.
But, yeah, come out, check out Jumpaloo. It's on the Play Store. Really cool little game. Next up, Odin Tracker. Now, Odin Tracker has been spotlighted before when it was in its incredibly early phases, like more or less an idea that was being put together. But now Odin Tracker is entering into. I know this is actually messed with Chance. This is not actually any kind of in-engine thing. This is actually what their website background looks like. But they actually have made a very cool system. It's a combination of a series of tools through a plugin that lets you do issue tracking, actual like screen and blueprint capture. You can actually like file JIRAs and other bug reports through it. Plus, it has a time tracker for if you have employees and you want to see how long they're spending actually in the engine. Then you can.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can actually hop in, and what they've done is they've released a 0.2 release candidate 1 is what they're calling it, but they wanted people to know about it so that you can grab it, knock it about, see if it's like what's working, what's busted, and give them some feedback as far as what you'd like to see. The full thing isn't up for sale yet, but it's what they're working on, and when things are in early production like this and you can have an impact on how their development comes out, I say take it. So come out, check it out, and give them your feedback on the current build that they have, which is up here at the top of their forum post. If you come to forums.unrealengine.com, under the marketplace section, it's still in heavy development. And also, if you go onto their Twitter at Odin Tracker, you can keep up with their latest releases as well. So
cool.
They're a very cool tool. Check that one out. Our last piece of community spotlight is a very serious one, and I thought that this was important to bring up. But Death Toll's experience, this was brought to me actually quite a few times, and I've been wanting to bring it up. It's a very serious piece. Basically, the author realized that psychologically people don't understand the impact of numbers when you read them in a magazine or something that says so many people died in a tragedy. So he's created a visualization of various important tragic events that had showed up in the news all over. So you can actually, there's a great breakdown here as to why and how it was made. It's very moving, and it's definitely something worth experiencing and checking out. It can definitely be overwhelming when you realize like how much like a lot of people like passing away is. So please take a look at it, consider it. It's very, I think it's a very important piece, though very serious. And thank you all for your hard work on these kind of games as well. All right. And on that note, let's talk about making some mods.
Oh, is that? Oh, cool.
It's completely unrelated.
Yeah, sure. So as we mentioned at GDC last week, we we released Robo Recall, we released the mod editor for it and everything like that. And so, it was close, almost.
We did put the water on the floor.
Well,
there.
I mean, you took the table. Now that you're
put it over.
All right, let me
the danger water over there. And officially out of the danger zone.
I don't know about that. Danger zone.
Of course, Clint starts singing Danger Zone.
So, with the release of the game, we released a mod kit as well that allows developers to hop in and make all kinds of great new content for the game. And so, it's been something that we've been really excited about for a long time. A little secret on this end, a small team of us working together real hard to make this happen. And we're really glad with the way it came out. We want to just kind of go over it with everybody and show you what you can and can't do. So, the Robo Recall Mod Kit, Clint, if we can hop over to the, is available right now on the modding tab of the Unreal Engine launcher. If you haven't seen it, there's a number of other UE4 powered mod kits there, like Arc and Conan. We've normally talked about them here on the stream. I think all these teams have been on at some point to chat through their kit, and now it's my turn. But you can grab it here. It's free with the Unreal Engine EULA, so you can just download it here. Check out everything while you're out there. There's a few links on the bottom here. If you don't have Robo Recall yet from the store, you can hop straight out there to the Oculus store and pick it up. There's a set of documentation that the team has worked on too that kind of helps you get started on a few different things there. And then we've got the forums that Alex has talked about before earlier today that will have you be able to A, get support from other people, B, find people to team up with to make cool mods, or C, create and share your own projects that are on there as well. Or chat back with us, tell us what you think, tell us what we think we should change, and we'll do what we can. You can grab it here. I'm going to go ahead and pop it open. I've already got it done instead of launching it from there. And the first screen, whenever you load it, it's everything will be mostly familiar to you because it's Unreal Engine. There are a few different things that are a little different though. There's this new game mod screen that shows up on very first launch. And in here, we've kind of got a little bit of the wider range of different actor types inside the game that you can override. So at first, there's the custom VR pawn, which is mostly hands and movement, how you as the player interact with the world. We've already seen a lot of mods come out that are just pawn mods, specifically for people that want to play just a little differently. They've got the game, they've got the touch there. Instead, they want to move around with the sticks as opposed to teleport, or they don't want us to allow them to, rotate on teleport, those kinds of things.
Or if you're Joe Raddick, you want to like punch to move instead of Yeah, I'm excited to see that one. By the way,
you can just put skis in your hands and ski through the map.
Ski for it. Yeah.
So and then there's a number of things too. There's the classic loadout for Robo Recall are these 4 guns: pistol, shotgun, revolver, and energy rifle. These are the 4 main guns in the game, and there are mods that here from this menu you can start directly from those and build your own custom versions of them, or you can start with a new gun, which is kind of like the pistol, but with a lot of the other unnecessary functionality pulled back. So this would be kind of a starting point if you're going to make a melee weapon or a propane tank as a gun, right, that you can spawn on your body, or a grenade. Then we've got all of our bots in here. Every bot in the game is represented. Even the big bot, the crawlers, up to the boss.
I like big bots.
I know, and you cannot lie. That was a joke we were trying to get in the game really bad, and I don't know that it ever did. I have to talk to Donaldson when we're back to see if we snuck it in. As
Make sure that one of them says it at least once, right?
So good. And then the same thing with maps. Maps are pretty straightforward. It's just like the Unreal Engine 4 map system where you can create a new level, except this new map from in here has like some basic gray box, a simple skybox, and a nav mesh toss down so you can actually spawn in and move around. There's also a little bit of startup logic in maps that you'll want to do that help transition between levels. So it's like on level load, there's kind of like this little, okay, great, continue loading sequence, do a thing, and then end loading sequence. And the maps that you can build from this menu will actually give you some example code on that too. If it's valuable to others, let me know, and I can put a snippet of that into the forums as well. There's three main areas inside Robo Recall. There's the city center, there is the old town, and there's the rooftops. Each of them have a night and day scenario, and so I built 2 specific maps here that'll allow you to hop in and start from, okay, I'm going to make a new rooftops day map or a new rooftops night map, and this will take out a lot of the cruft and rando stuff that you don't need and just give you a really good flat map to start with that you can build your own gameplay inside of too. And you can also build code mods too. You can start from blank, you can start from the custom character, and you can start from custom weapons. So just to get started in here, we're just going to do something really simple by grabbing a couple weapons. If you've seen Zach's video, there's some of this is probably going to be overlap, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on creating, but it'll be more about what you can do and what all the little levers do and what the breadth of the entire mod kit and how it works is.
And Zach's video is up on on YouTube right now on our Unreal Engine channel if you want to see his full in-depth tutorial as well.
Yeah, and he went through this at GDC as well, teaching blueprints via the Robo Recall Mod Kit. So there's a lot of really good learning in there as well if you want to make your first mod. That's a good place to start, as well as our making your first mod tutorial that's on the dock. So I'm just going to start with custom pistol and custom revolver, and we'll call this live stream. Actually, let's call this a live stream mod, and the author is going to be Alexander, because it's not going to be a good mod, so I want you to be...
I'm going to attach my name to this junk.
And then we'll do, hang on, Alex. It seems like that's going away every time. Let's go with Alex. And then click down here, and then description.
Alex.
Our description, right. I can't spell anything. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create mod, and it's going to go ahead and make a new package that I can work with here. Now, I could have selected a number of things in here. I could have selected nothing in here, but like I wanted to just start with these 2 weapons to kind of show a couple things. And you can always get back to this menu to create a new mod via the Create Mod button here up on the top. But as you can see, this is mostly Unreal Engine as you've seen it before. There's a few different volumes and other things over here that we've extended, and a couple of other items that may look a little bit different that we had to build specifically for the mod kit or specifically for Robo Recall while we were building it. So over here on the side, you're used to the content browser where you've got everything inside your content browser for your games, right? Where you can hop into any of your folders. Since the new mod system uses the plugin system, we've actually got plugins showing up over here. that you can see as their own individual sets of content. Now in here, I'm able to kind of pop this open here and see, okay, great, this is the A live stream mod that I made, and then blueprints, and then weapons inside. And there's the 2 weapons that I built inside of here. So I'm going to just show one more thing you can do as opposed to having to create your weapons from in here or create your bots from in here. You can actually come right down in here and then right click and just say blueprint class. We've got those same classes that you can access directly from this parent class list. So if we wanted to say, well, I had a revolver and a pistol, but I meant to also add a shotgun, I can do that here. And so I'll say a live stream shotgun.
Sometimes I'm just like, I need a gun that shoots a gun that continuously shoots other guns.
I've done that,
you know,
and it's amazing. It's great. So now I've got three of these assets in here, and I can open them up. Sorry, my throat's a little jammed up from the show. It's been incredible.
Yeah, post GDC, everything in here has been like damaged.
We're all recovering a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can see it's the same as the blueprint editor that you're used to in Unreal Engine 4. It might be worth mentioning too, if you're not familiar with blueprints, there are a ton of learning resources on the Learn tab and on our documentation that will help you get started with all of this and what it all means. So what we can do inside of here is override anything inside the gun that we want to. I'm not going to do a whole lot. Maybe I'll just do a quick material so you can kind of see it. Just something really simple. I'm just going to call this the gold material.
Are you making a golden gun?
Yeah, why not?
Because it'll kill anyone in one shot. It's totally OP and not fair.
It is OP and not fair.
Are you that guy in the 90s who always goes straight for the golden gun and then...
In the 90s? I still play GoldenEye. What are you talking about? 90s.
Everyone had that one friend. It's like, seriously? Just get a regular gun and play like normal people.
Yeah. Disregard my poor art skills here, and I would cooking show this a little bit better, but I think you'll get the gist of it just by me overriding this thing. You can override all the functions and everything else as well. But I'm just going to make this pistol into gold right here.
It's a great comment from Confused Lit. I bet you pick Odd Job also.
I don't pick Odd Job.
You're
No,
that guy
I'm
that makes us all have to like tap down a little bit to shoot.
Soviet Special Forces. That's my, yeah. Always Soviet Special Forces.
This is going to be the. I hope someone
In the
actually does like a
complex.
full facility is always the best.
Yeah.
I hope someone actually does do a full like GoldenEye mod.
A GoldenEye mod.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, so I just made this simple thing here. Metallic actually needs to be 1 and roughness needs to be 1.12. I don't know why I did that backwards. Oops, there is my microphone.
No.
I know. I'm not very good at this thing. It's been a while, Alex. All right, so I can go ahead and save this. Now, what's kind of cool is in the folder structure over here, you've got the same access to everything else in the content browser where you can, still select your high-level folder for content, and you can still filter by blueprint class or by anything else that's inside of here. So now that I've got that in there, I'm going to kind of pop open and show you one more thing that's kind of neat. Since we're using the plugin system, I had that author and description field on the creation. If I put something in there and I want to change it, something like version number, something like the name, something like the description, I can come up here into edit and then plugins, which opens this menu, and I can see my live stream mod. I can hit edit here, and I can refill this information out. So it looks like it didn't take before. I was probably hitting the backspace key or something. Description is going to be Alex's awesome mod, right? And then created by Alex. Great. So now that's in there. It is awesome. So for guns, it's kind of cool too that I can do something really quick by testing directly in the hub, just the same way as a player would. And I can do this without an Oculus Rift. You notice we're just doing this on the headset, or not on the headset, on the
PC.
The PC without a headset. Why you go slow? You were fine a second ago. I blame all of Alex's web pages.
All of the tons of stuff I have up
Yeah.
in here. You've somehow overloaded the Titan X and 32 gigs of RAM we have in this.
Yeah, we'll take it. So I can float around with WASD, and I can actually use the space bar to do the little teleportation. Since it points back at you, you'll want to hop out of the elevator and then hop over to the Robo Ready Holo Station. And when you're in here, the click buttons are essentially to move your laser pointer. And I'm going to hop into my mods. And I've got all these mods listed over here in the menu. And I'm going to select my new a live stream mod. And I should be able to go into gun range. And my pistol, if it'll let me click it, it's now gold. Check out that golden pistol. Pew, 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 pew. I got 2 of them. Amazing. So I got my new pistols. They're the coolest thing ever. I love that, right? Now, one of the things that's important to keep in mind if you're not using the wizard, if you're using the blueprint class menu and you're grabbing from here, that's great. But since a lot of you are going to be digging around in our code base or in our content tree and finding what the classes in the game are actually using. So I want to show you one more way to make a weapon with the energy rifle that you'll want to make a couple of extra changes just to ensure that it's set up correctly. So I'm just going to directly subclass the gun energy rifle in here. So I can say gun energy rifle. And this is kind of how it works, and a way you can get a live stream energy rifle. This is one way you can set up your own mod specifically from scratch, not using that. This is dark in here because the energy rifle is strangely lit for some reason. It's always been that way. But I can come in here to the top level item, which is a subclass of Odin weapon. And in the details, there's a lot in here. I mean, there's a lot going on with our weapons, but I'm just going to search for modding. There's a modding subheading. And you'll see there's 3 main pieces here. So for weapons, you can actually decide in this mode if you want it to affect the player or affect the enemy or both. Mm-hmm. So imagine a world where you want the new badass gun, right? And you want the competitive advantage over the enemies. We want to make sure that you can come in here and uncheck affects enemy. So just you get it. So they don't get it. But if you want just the enemies to have the badass gun, you can do the same thing where only they'll be able to take it. So we'll make a gun that's just for us. And then there's the idea of class overrides up here. So class overrides is essentially how a gun knows what it's supposed to do once it's inside the game. If you wanted to force your player to have one gun in all slots, you could come in here and add 4 different keys or 4 different elements to this array and say gun energy rifle. This is how all the other ones are set up by default. If you make a pistol from the menu, it's already set up with gun, pistol, and player, and I think player and enemy. But if I wanted this to also be for the shotgun, so that means no matter what spawns on my back, it's going to be this new energy rifle. I can actually add that in here. Not create a new blueprint. Where is that? Oh, yeah. Add element. I can also add gun, shotgun, and it'll replace that in the game too. So now when I spawn out in the game, it doesn't matter what's on my shoulders. If it's a shotgun or an energy rifle, both of them will spawn as the specific new weapon that I've created. Which is super cool for mod makers that want to build almost a full conversion inside their game, and they want to disregard what's going on with the player's choices inside Robo Recall. You could essentially build a game that the shoulders are swords only, right? Like you always have 2 swords on your back, and then your hips are always Chinese stars that you pull up, whatever.
And in my case, I think I'm just going to give you the BFG and do full Doom mod, and then
just do BFG on all 4.
Yeah, all of them.
Everything you've got is BFG,
huge,
right?
Giant guns.
So this isn't something that I don't know if we have this fully documented out, but I wanted to call it out here because the wizard handles a lot of this for you, but it's pretty flexible when you want to get in there and start adding specialized overrides for your classes. It's a little safe too, as it's looking specifically only for T. It's a T array of subclasses of Odin weapon inside the game, but really the only 4 you can really override in here, and we do a check whenever they're loading up, is gun, pistol, gun, shotgun, gun, revolver, and gun energy rifle. So
and gun.
Well, gun isn't in the game.
Well, why not? We need to have a gun that shoots guns, and then that's the gun.
But that's the gun that would override those things.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
And then it could randomly. What's that? An anti-gun gun. A gun that sucks guns back into it.
That would actually be a great mod. It's just I'd play that. I'd play that mod.
And this is the same kind of, so we've taken this approach across all of the overrideable classes. Goes for enemies. The boss is a special kind of enemy, so you'll only want to subclass or only want to override, flying boss. It's hyper specialized, and things will break pretty hard if you try to put a biped in the boss class. It'll be really super awkward for everyone. And the same thing with the VR pawn. VR pawn or the pawn overrides only need to override VR pawn. So everything operates the same way as this. All the other pawns in the game are not VR related, so not really sure what would happen if you're trying to replace an enemy with your pawn mod when they're literally just a couple of hands that are kind of floating around with no AI controller. Cool, so that's class overrides, and that goes for everything. If I were to come over here and create a new biped, right, like mod biped with a pistol, and say pistol biped, in here you'll actually see the same thing. And I come up to my details on the root item, modding, class overrides right there. And you'll see that by default, the pistol biped character is already set. So 9 times out of 10, you're not going to want to touch this. But if you wanted literally every biped in your game to be, a dragon or, an octopus, you could do that inside here.
Or if you just want to give them big head mode, you can just set scale on the bone of the skeleton and all that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Little tiny modifications are pretty quick to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do here. One of the things that we've been doing with a lot of these people is changing out what when you rip off their arm and you throw that arm, it's now a grenade arm, which is kind of awesome, right? And you can set all that stuff up in here. All the classes are available, and here's where you set up the
broken limb controller and all that. So you can
just
set up with
you just assign the class you want inside there. So you make a new broken limb, and then you'd make a new biped, and you associate them together. It's exactly what we did with another class we're going to be showing here in a second.
Oh my gosh!
So all of them are in here. You can build all of them for this, and they can all be replaced inside the main game, or you can build them all and have them manually spawned inside your custom games, inside your own custom maps. Shouldn't make any difference either way. So I'm going to close some of these down here. We'll roll back to where we were a second ago. And I can do the same thing with the map. I can make a new level in here and just say new level. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I think I added some special characters. Yep, I did. New level. So I've got a mod here that's my AI livestream mod. It's got all these cool blueprints in there. Nothing else special. I got a material, but I could structure this out in any way I wanted to. The same way the content browser. I could add textures. I could add materials. I could add material functions, material layers. Anything that the core game can support, I can add in here, which is 90% of what's inside Unreal Engine. The only thing you might run into is we're using the forward renderer, and we're using a hyper-specialized version of 4.16 that is not really reflective of what will be in 4.16. Specifically, there's some features that are going to come across, but we're on that base with mostly 4.15 content in here. So there may be some things that aren't quite as compatible as you think, but we haven't run into any. I just wanted to throw that out there as that maybe this might render strange because the forward render doesn't quite have the one feature that your hyper awesome shader is using. So just build and test inside the editor as much as you can, which you can do, right? You can actually test like we just saw there with the gun. Yeah. You can test the same way that your players are going to test.
It's and just to reiterate one more time, all that you did in order to jump in with your gun and all that was hit play. There was no special.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in chat are actually asking about like, oh, how'd you do that without the HMD? Like, you just did all that testing like so fast.
Yep. Yeah. So that's one of the. While we were building this and testing this, like while I'm sitting here making sure everything is operating the correct way, I had a bunch of debug rooms, a bunch of debug menus, a bunch of console commands, and then once we got the UI in for right over here, actually at the actual hub, we realized that we can do all the testing the same way that it'll actually work in the game, not just making sure that the overrides are happening correctly, that the swap outs are done and everything works, but we can actually go, okay, great, mods, here they are, let's remove them from this list, let's add them to our list, and we should even be able to come down here on the AI stream mod or whatever, boom, I can see the information inside there as well. So you can make yourself an author, make a name for yourself in the mod community by filling out all that info.
Oh, that's really nice.
And have it in there as well. Yeah, so I can add your live stream mod, and then we're like, you know what, let's hop into the gun range and just make sure that works. Now,
does live stream mod also have the melee weapons in it?
No, this is the one we just built. Yeah,
okay.
This is the one we just built with just the golden guns. Everything else is pretty basic right now. There's the only things we changed, and I would probably go through a lot more of these, but there's going to be a lot of other training content. Right now, I just want to kind of give an overview of how you get started as opposed to specific tasks that you can do making a mod. Here's that kind of the breadth of everything you can do while you're trying to make new content for Robo Recall. So in testing, one of the cool things that's in here, and let me hop back over to that list too. While we're here. So inside this menu, it's important to note that you've got, Welcome Agent 34. I may or may not have heard that a lot. Inside our mods here, the enabled mods section is set right here in the center, and you select them on the left. They roll to the middle the same way as they would in the game, and then you can hop out to a map directly from the screen. Now, since multiple things can be overridden, you might end up with mods that will conflict with what they're actually trying to override. So we have this set up as a priority, and the mods up top will actually take the highest priority, and the ones below will take the lowest. So we'll say that the Fortnite weapons pack and our livestream mod both override the pistol. As long as our livestream mod is up top, we'll get the pistol from this pack and not from this pack. This may have other items in it too. So you might build more modularly and more packaged. Some people just want to play a mod as a package, but occasionally you might want to say, oh, that's a really amazing weapon. We want to give that to people to be able to use in other games. You can also package just that weapon down and send it to people. So as far as testing goes, you can test right there weapons in the hub on that priority stack. Pawns only take place inside the levels themselves. So you're not going to be able to test a pawn mod inside the hub unless you change your editor preference or your project settings over here, and then you should be able to just test it by launching it. But that changes the experience that the player would have. You're now taking a completely different path than they are. So it might be best just to go ahead and roll into a map and make sure everything works that way as well. You can totally test it here to make sure things look good and you can have faster iterations. But before you ship, I would actually set it back to VR Pawn inside your game mode and project settings, launch into a map from inside that editor, and just kind of see what people are doing. You can do all that inside the editor. Maps you can access from that mods menu as well. Whenever you select a mod pack on the side, it shows up in the middle. The maps will show up on the right. They'll be at the top of the list, so you can quickly grab them and move on. They'll be above the vanilla game maps. Enemies the same way. Enemies, the actual override tests will be only possible inside maps. But if you got a custom enemy that you want to kind of see how they operate, how they work, you can actually drop them inside the hub here, or you can open a different map and just drop them in that map and try to fight them there. That's how I've been doing it a lot. That's how we've been building the game, as we've got a whole lot of test maps where we work on an enemy, drop them in a scene, and fight them. It's just how game development works. You can take that same approach here. Just make sure the class overrides section is set up how you want it to, and you'll only be able to test if it's working in game that way if you launch it out of the map here, or if you cook it down locally and then play it inside your actual Robo Recall game. You can do it from there too. And the same thing from the bosses. The bosses, you're going to have to test them inside the game. They replace only one person or only one character per main level, and that's Odin, the main boss in the game. So they'll be very similar to enemies. But you can also drop them inside the map and make sure things are looking good there too. And so packaging. So if we look at packaging as opposed to just creating, it's like, great, I've made my mod. I love it. It's exactly how I want. We tried to make this as easy as possible for everyone that wants to come in and make something. So there's literally a share mod button up here. We can just hit our A live stream mod and then hit save selected. It's going to force me to save everything that's inside there. I'm actually going to uncheck this gun. I'll tell you why here in a second. So we'll just save those down. It's going to save that new map that I haven't been to yet. And I'm going to put it on the desktop here, see if I can't grab it here in a second. Actually, I'm going to put it in the Unreal folder, wherever that may be. I'll put it down here where I've got the other plugins. Great. So then it'll just be packaging and doing its thing. So while that's rolling down, a couple of things that we want to make sure that we can't reiterate enough on doing this. The packaging process is looking only at that package that we actually chose to cook down. So if you have content, if you have new content that's in another folder or it's in the main game, new content. Regular game content's totally fine. If you have new content that's not in this folder, you'll need to move it to this folder, fix up redirectors, make sure that everything is in the same root directory here, or it won't make the packaging. You're going to run into problems once you've cooked the mod. So it's really good habit to, once you've actually chosen, hey, I'm now over in my live stream mod over here, just kind of drop this menu down here and just pretend that this is a content browser you're working in. If you need things from the main game that you want to override, if you want to override stuff from the main game, make a copy, move it to your new content folder. For instance, for the hands of the player, what I'll normally do, just to make sure the mappings are all still correctly, the UVs are good, I'll go find the Enhanced Master material inside content, and I'll make a copy of it, and I'll come into the mod that I'm working on, I'll paste it there, and then I'll do all of my my new texturing work. The same thing with the textures. I'll do all my texturing and material work there, and then I'll apply it to the hands inside that folder and cook it down. Because of that same reason, avoid changing anything that is in the root game. So content itself, the content section has got a lot of assets in there. I mean, I think that I did another perf4 sync today. There's like 186,000 files in the game when it's, just completely sourced and everything. There's a lot of content in Robo Recall. There's probably not 186,000 totally here, but there's a lot in there. We built a lot for this game, and so you're welcome to use it all on your mods. Just if you're going to make an edit to it, make a copy of it, and then make edits to only the copy itself. And that goes for pretty much anything. That's assets, that's materials, that's code, right? Like I wouldn't go into the source and change anything there. If you need to replace something, make a new subclass of that other code and then change it inside there. It just makes sure that the vanilla experience stays the same, and when the mod shows up to the game, it's like actually looking at the correct assets inside the game itself. So yeah, make sure you save all those things. It actually prompts you to whenever you hit share. It's good to go there. And then it's going to spit out a .robo file, which is
The best file format ever.
It is. It's great.
It's a great file format.
The game itself is ready to see these robo files and install them automatically to the right spot. So if you've got the game installed, if your players that you're making mods for have the game installed, they can just double click that robo file and it'll have a little prompt. Do you want to install this to this directory? Just make sure everything's good there, and you can hit yes, and then it'll ask you to play now. So you can hop right in after the mod's been installed. It's really cool. If you want to see kind of what it looks like, you can actually change robo to .zip, because it's just a glorified zip file that's got the full plugin inside there with a .pack file as well. So if you're used to working with .pack files and you want to further troubleshoot your mod, you're more than welcome to take a look at those kinds of things too. All of these install to the game directory /plugins, so you'll see them inside there as a new section for or as a new plugin that you can actually make sure that they're installed. And that's the same place you can delete them. So if you don't want a mod there anymore, your players don't want mods there anymore, they can delete them from there. If there's a newer version that you've created, when a player reinstalls it, it'll just go in there and stomp that and just override it with the new version. So you can keep new versions, keep rolling those out there, and yeah, have a blast there. And so yeah, use versioning for people and put that information inside the description as well. So when people download, they know kind of what version they're working with, and they know what's going on. Oh, cool. My packaging of a livestream mod is now complete. Oh, nice. So now it's done. It should be in the same folder as everything else here. That was not too painful, was it, Alex?
No. It's pretty quick, like in the grand scheme of packaging things.
Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to point out, I'm just going to see if this will open. It might take a little bit. Inside the actual game, or inside the editor, I can't see what I spelled there. There we go. Inside the, I'll just leave it here. Inside the actual game, there is a full mission, a full set of missions that, or a full set of sub-levels that's got mission 1.1 in it. So you can see exactly how we built the game to launch from the menus to actually select the correct mission and go inside there. It's a good place to start. If you're going to copy it, there's a lot of weirdness there because it's got so many sub-levels that are being referenced by it. If you're going to build new levels like the City Center Day, City Center Night, I highly suggest using the menu up here where you can actually grab the maps specifically how they are. And so you could build one that's just a map pack building specifically on these and your new map, and then use that instead. They're already set up with a startup and shutdown logic. They may need lighting rebuilt on them because the new build data system with lighting scenarios doesn't necessarily like copying and pasting very well. So sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. Something that we've mentioned to the team, so we can't see if we can't get that fixed in the future. And yeah, I would certainly start from there, build your own maps. And then you can do other things too that we've got inside of here. There's the interaction component that we've got. I'd pull it up here, but it might take me a little bit to find it. So everything inside the game that you see a little ring around, you can grab. That is like a base component that we call the interaction component. It's for grabbing a gun. It's for grabbing a bot. It's for grabbing the books inside the hub and throwing them. It's for grabbing anything. If you're making a mod that, say you're making a new mod where you're in some like worm style environment, and you're trying to
A Worms Armageddon, like Worms.
yeah, and so
like,
you move to a thing. It's your turn. You move to a thing.
Yeah.
And then you can grab a grenade that happens to be at the stash and then throw it.
Okay.
So you can make those kinds of things that aren't weapons. You can make those kinds of things that aren't enemies. You can make all kinds of different actors based on other interactive components that we've built for the game, and they're all in there as well. So I encourage you to do it. I think that some of the coolest mods are going to have those kinds of things where you can like walk through a space. It could be an adventure game where you're literally exploring and you're in a library and you pull out a book, and when you hold the book in your hand, it opens up and it gives you clues to what you're doing. All those tools are in there. And that's what I like. That's the kind of stuff I want to do, right?
It's really exciting, and I've kind of messed around a little bit with it myself, and just the idea that there's the generic, pick up interact thing as a concept really gets really fun if you want to do things like messing with new ragdolls, importing in a new skeletal mesh, just because you want to throw around a body because it's kind of funny and like a big big teddy bear-esque thing. But then you can go all the way and build whole new systems like you're saying, like Worms, which I would encourage you all to do because I love that game and would love to play it in VR.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And on that note too, I've had a lot of people ask me, oh, is there still like the two-handed weapons like in Bullet Train with a shotgun? The base weapon still has a secondary interaction component. So while nothing in our game ships with it currently, there are people that are already out there building pump shotguns or other things that you can do with two hands, like ring 'em up. Like different rando.
These are important. These are very important.
It's funny you talk about guns. Don't have to be the answer, right? Like melee weapons are a thing.
Guns don't have to be the answer. We could beat them to death instead.
No, Pete Hayes, one of the artists. Pete has been at Epic for a long time. He's one of the guys that built a lot of the mechs and bots. He's going to build a mod that. And your left holster is a ping pong ball, and your right one is a paddle. So you can, and it'll just spawn really quickly. You can take that one and just pop it back out there again. Like he wants to do one where you have a propane tank, and you throw it, and while it's close to people, you can shoot out of the air and it explodes. Like those are things we've already done.
At home, I have a cat that I've been modeling, and I'm still rigging it, but I'm gonna set up an interaction point at the end of its tail. And my idea was I was gonna pop this one out of nowhere. It's a melee cat. It's a cat mace. Yeah, like you swing it and go. Wow.
It's not a cat of nine tails. No. No, it's funny though because
that's terrible.
The ideas just come from everywhere. We had the first proof of concept here was a cat gun. I bought some cats on the marketplace, and I put them in the game, and they're just walking around on the ground. You pick it up, and it's a gun that goes like me 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 me, and it shoots things. And
as long as you grab it by its the four paws and like back paws into the pump, that's what I need. In there.
I didn't quite do that. I didn't use the secondary. But on that note, there's so much.
A katana.
Katana. There's so much. There's so much content on the marketplace. So much of the content that we've put out there that you can use for this. The first map concept was Infinity Blades. The Firelands and the ice level. We brought both of those into Robo Recall, and we made a couple missions there. And it's just awesome to see a game that is so technology driven. It's all the future and robots and everything else there. To take it to a brand new locale. The team in the room was like stopping there, just kind of walk over your shoulder, and it's like, this is pretty cool. This is nothing like we've been seeing for the last year while we've been working on this, and it works pretty well. Really, it needs collision, it needs nav mesh information, and it needs some startup and shutdown logic. And you can really use the UE4 level system to build pretty much whatever you want. It's pretty cool. I will caution you though that draw calls, VR, all that fun stuff. You have the just enough rope to hang yourself on making something that isn't quite performant. So just always test and test often for sure. So yeah, a couple of other things I just wanted to drop out there as FYIs, and then we'll have another cool thing we've got to say. But
and we also have Q&A at the end of the stream too. Yeah.
So we're trying to hurry, Clint. I apologize. We've got only 1.1 is in the hub. So if you're trying to launch out to other maps, it's just going to boot you back to the hub space. That is by design. So I've heard a couple of people bring that up. It's actually in our known issues up on the forums at this point too. Marketplace. Actually, I've already covered most of these things too. Oh yeah, if you feel like you've screwed things up by changing too much stuff in content, or your mods aren't working, I ran into this yesterday where I had accidentally changed the core biped character so fundamentally on accident. I was thinking I was working on my subclass that I couldn't get my new subclass to override it. So just verify inside the launcher. You can hit a verify button. Any of the assets that you've stomped, it'll bring those back for you. Cool. All right. So a couple more things. You may have seen at GDC when we shipped this thing, there was the Fortnite weapons were launched inside there. There's the 3 melee weapons. The ruler sword replaces the pistol. The bat replaces the shotgun, and the rocket sledge replaces the energy rifle. They're built in a way there that you can. They're uncooked. They're here in the launcher itself.
Yeah.
They're available in the toolkit, so you can actually just ship with 1 or 2 or change what they're actually looking like. And we had mentioned before that we would be doing a little bit more. And so I'm really happy to announce that today we have made Kalari as an in-game enemy from Paragon. So Kalari from Paragon is set up to replace the melee bot. So you can fight off against her and 1-1 and 1-2. And on that note, if you saw Zach's talk at GDC, or maybe the video that up earlier today, he built Twin Blast's pistol. Well, Jeremy Ernst also got his Twin Blast's hands in. So you can hop into this Paragon mod that's in here, and you can play the game as Twin Blast with Twin Blast pistols against Kalari inside the game. It's really, really, really cool. And since we're shipping this as it's uncooked in here, you can kind of take a look and see how we built it, how we went about putting new things together. And if you want to just have one side or the other of it, you can split that into 2 packs and just have Kalari as an enemy and just have Twin Blast's gun as a thing. You need to take Twin Blast's hands out if you don't want to have that too. But it's super satisfying hopping in there with the gun that Zach built that operates just like Twin Blast says. We've been chatting with that team over there. They're really excited to be able to share some of this content with you as well. Kevin Lanning, one of the guys that's he's worked on pretty much everything here at Epic. He's an animator and an artist. He was just so happy to be able to hold and shoot Twin Blast pistol, right? Like, it's just, VR has been such an amazing, amazing way to really experience content we never really had before, if we've made it or not. It's super cool. And on that note too, we've got an Unreal Tournament pack coming out that we fully ported over DM Chill. So I'm going to hop into that real quick and just so you can kind of see what's going on.
If we do all 3 at the same time, that'd be pretty exciting, you know.
Yes, a new challenger, a site that is starting to host. Yeah, I think it's roborecallmods.com. We actually saw that come up while we were at GDC, and I was like, great, we didn't have the bandwidth at the time to put up our own Nexus type site. Right now we're leveraging the forum so people can hop on there and really do whatever they want, share whatever they need. But yeah, you'll see in here there's a full map right here, a full version of DM Chill that has made its way over. So you can see all the jumping points for the enemies. You can see the nav mesh on the floor here. And let me tell you, the verticality of this level versus playing other things in Robo Recall is awesome because you can hop around in a bunch of different spaces. But being able to kind of hop on this ledge, you see this little bitty tiny blue dot, you can get on the statue's head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you can go from
hit it just
you can go from the floor up to here and soak in the enemies. They can jump around, and it's really, really great.
This is actually a really great example of, a lot of people ask me, how do I get my guy to jump from platform to platform and know what to do? Well, here you can actually kind of reverse engineer the mod editor to see how we're doing in a 3D space. It's pretty impressive.
And Jeff's got a document out there right now. The Learning Resources team has a document out there that should also cover all of the functions, all the functionality and concepts here, but it's using like a city center map instead. So any of the learnings there are the same thing here. There's like, I think 4 or 5 waves, a big bot spawns, you get to fight him. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. I really like playing in this because it's visually different. Some of the areas are darker in VR, than we have in the main game. And so you're walking around a corner and there's just a robot with, you can just see like the lights on him. He happens to be like agent, and he turns, you're like, you try to get him really quick.
I was thinking it'd be really good to use this as a base for like a horror game even, because it's a little bit disturbing when you're not expecting one of them to jump at you and then they come out of nowhere. So why not build a whole game around that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a new challenger, I saw the jump points. They're actually just part of the navigation system. They're built out that way, so you can kind of use them as items from the menu here that you can bring in. And just if you don't see them originally, you'll see like the top and bottom, but if you want to see the actual arcs, it's P in the editor, or it's like go here to show and drop down to navigation and it'll show up there. So yeah, this should be good to go. And not only are we releasing them in the uncooked content way, we actually have 3 robos that Alex is going to kick the launcher or kick the forum post live sometime shortly. Yeah, we'll do it over here. So
Okay.
if you have the game, you can download them and start playing with them now. Super cool. It's been a lot of fun. And we may do a little bit more content like this in the future, but we're actually more excited to see what you guys come up with because as modding communities go, we might have a cool idea about how we can build something, but it's really once it's in your hands, we really start to see the capabilities of what a framework and what some design has, and you can start helping us fix design problems that we've got. It's funny. So many people wanted to play with the sticks as opposed to teleportation, and Nick Donaldson, lead designer on this, has been like, yeah, we really get that people want to do a number of different things. We're going to focus on teleportation. The first thing that came out after this was like, great, we're going to do our own thing, and then people are loving it. It's just really cool to see. Really, really great. So probably more to come soon on that. We're going to drop these shortly. And that's kind of a good overview of everything that's kind of inside the mod kit right now. So you can download it for free. You can get the game for free from Oculus's site if you've got the touch controllers.
Totally.
And if you want to know more about how we approach the integration, I know there's been a lot of questions about how I build a moddable game. I'm probably going to come back on a little bit later to kind of walk through specifically how I designed the interaction between the cooked content and the actual game, how we set up the hooks for replacement. And if you're interested in seeing how we added these buttons to the menu, if you're not necessarily engine savvy, that's okay. You can actually grab these buttons right up here and how these actually work. You can still grab the source code that comes with the engine. When you download it from the binary, all the sources in there as well. And I believe you should look into Odin Editor plugin that will have all of this stuff kind of outlined. It's not for me as a non-engine programmer, I can figure it out. So if you know your way around code, you should be able to kind of understand what we've tried to accomplish there. And for other licensees that are looking to build mod kits too, we really hope that this is a good starting point to make the process as smooth as possible. On that note too, there's some back-end wizardry for the engine that's going to come out 4.16, maybe 4.17 time frame that makes a lot of this easier as well. But you've got the full source there. You can build C++ mods. You can build Blueprint mods. Take what we've done, make something better. We hope you enjoy the game. We can't wait to see what you build. I've got a few mods in the works right now that I don't want to talk about yet because they're a little too early, but I've had some of the most fun working on this, and we hope that you do too.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's incredibly tempting to want to make a mod immediately. Like the second I saw you messing around with it the first time, I went off and started modeling the cat, and I'm like, okay, hang on, I have some other ideas too. And all that. So yeah, you'll see some more projects probably coming out of us for Epic Fridays. Even people at Epic are really having a lot of fun with the mod editor here.
Well, yeah, and on that same note, so many people, game development, you're always going to have to cut a feature that you don't want to cut, and even talking to the Robo Recall team, they're like, man, I really wanted to be able to get this or that in. They're actually thinking about coming back in now the game's over and just kind of tinkering on the side and building out some of the ideas that they had in their head that the schedule did not allow for us to get into. So it's going to be great. I'm sure we have a few questions.
We have plenty of questions. Awesome. First up, to reiterate, Seto-kun had asked earlier, I don't have VR equipment. Can I actually still make mods?
Yes.
And yes, in fact, we don't have any here, and we just made a mod in front of you. So
so all the work here has been done specifically in Play and Editor. You can't test it fully with the headset, so you won't be able to really understand performance implications and those kinds of things.
But if you're just building something small, making some you want to make some minor changes, hand them over to a friend, there's no reason that you couldn't just throw some material work together. Heck, maybe you've got a really small map you want to just test out, hand it over to somebody, whatever. It shouldn't be too difficult to throw together something like this. Scale, performance, a couple other things might come up as an issue eventually, but
but just get a good beta tester you can pass over to. Say, hey, I'm working on this thing. Find a friend that can test them for you, and then give you feedback on if it's performing or not, or if there's specific things. And probably just a good idea anyway, just test mods, right?
To start picking up that a piece of equipment here and there. I actually noticed that this was the year, last year everyone was like, it's the year of GDC for VR, and then this year I came in, it's like, well, this is the year where everyone kind of has VR. It's actually the reason it's one of the categories is because a lot of people came up to me and was like, oh yeah, we have VR equipment now. a lot of people do. So if you don't have it yet, go to the forums, and on the Robo Recall modding forums, this is a good time to say, hey, that's probably a good place to find someone who might have an Oculus Touch free extra to team up with and to test your mods.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are going to want early
That's a great
access to
point.
mods, so team up with somebody.
Cool.
Let's see here. How do you open the night version of a Robo Recall map?
So it should be able to.
And that's from PC Zach.
It should be able to build from this menu here. So if you say City Center night, Old Town night, and then Rooftops night. If you have issues with those, let me know. We're not seeing anything on our end. We've been building a few mods on these maps as well.
Just loading it up.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay.
It would
it's
take,
like
it
end
would
of
take a
sentence.
while.
Like, oh,
Yes.
okay. Sorry, I thought that you were
Punctuation.
doing a thing. So, let's see here. Let's see. Ibby1 was asking about if we were going to be able to explore how the game was made, and yes, I think you can see pretty clearly that there's a lot available for you to reverse engineer.
What's the question again?
Never really modded before, but was wondering, am I able to explore how the game was made?
Yeah, totally.
And yeah,
Yep.
I think not just through digging through it, but also through the commenting. That it's very heavily commented. You'll actually be able to kind of see like the mindset of like as people are developing sections of it and putting chunks together.
Yeah, and yeah, it's worth noting too that some of this is left over from Bullet Train, the learnings from that, and we've learned a lot in this project too, right? So you're gonna probably see a couple of our pain points and the things that we've worked through. And as every project that anybody's ever worked on, I think that you'd always want to go back at some point and do things a little bit differently the next time. But yeah, everything's in there. The only thing that's missing are a few of the maps. And so the one that's there and this chill map mostly cover everything that is happening inside them as well.
All right, cool. Let's see. We've got quite a few of these, and they're coming in fast, too, from the Twitch chat. If you're watching us on twitch.tv, that's where we take the questions from. We just started streaming to also Facebook simultaneously, and we've had a YouTube channel open as well, but we don't take chat questions there. So if you're wondering where I'm getting these questions from and you're watching from not Twitch, that is where. Let's see here. Does the Robo Recall editor support total conversions from Comrade Headclot?
Sure. Yeah, so if you're going to build a total conversion, what you'd want to do is have a way to set up everything that you want and then launch out to a map from that menu. So you'd associate everything you want into a mod, select it. Clint, can we cut from the mod editor screen for a sec? Thanks, bro. So you want to select everything you want inside your mod, set it all up there, and then have a map that you launch out to from that menu that can do further work for you. So Mike Fricker and I were talking about how you could set up an entire new campaign, and you could essentially, since maps are just a gigantic bucket of content, you can set specific things at map load that really give you access to game mode, that give you access to all kinds of things. So you could essentially build a new hub that you launch out to that has got all these different missions inside there that you slowly unlock. So you build like a save data, you build a piece of save data that you can track there as well. So players can come in and play a bunch of different levels as long as they hop into the hub, choose the menu, or choose the map, and then hop into the map, and then go from there. So yeah, the possibility should be pretty broad.
All right. Oh, goodness. Well, these are coming in pretty fast. So next question is, are the engine changes for modding support going to make their way into the engine itself in a future version? You had mentioned earlier a couple of features that are specific to Robo Recall.
Yes. So for those that know a little bit more about how that works, or how UT does it, well, let me just say it this way. UT handles it via the asset registry, and they will manually append manifests into the asset registry for new pack files. We do a lot of that automatically in the future, and so we've altered some build scripts. We're going to have all this available as well that'll allow you to do the same thing like our icons here. We hope to have much better support just in general for making this thing as simple as possible to get moving. We can't really put these toolbar buttons inside the engine itself because it's going to be very specific to your content. So you're probably going to have to build those out or alter a plugin that comes from a GitHub fork or a GitHub shelf, something like that. But a lot of the the auto find, the back end information for the asset registry and how it finds new mods and automatically makes them available inside the game. That's what should hopefully be coming in 4.16 and 4.17.
Awesome. Let's see. Next up is. Right. Do I need to own Robo Recall in order to make mods for it, or can I just get the mod tools and standalone? That's Nuiva asking.
Yeah, no, you can just grab it from the Unreal Engine launcher. But if you have touch, you can also grab Robo Recall for free. So.
Yeah, and then you have the game to play for free.
Yeah, you can get it. You can get it from the launcher and start building content for the game.
Yep. Let's see here. How complicated / involved will it be to add mod support to our own games? And you said you were talking about coming back on to discuss how that's done.
Yeah, we'll come back and take a look at that at some point. If you're feeling super adventurous now, take a look at Odin Game Instance, the source file.
All right.
So that at least lets you kind of understand how we did the integration and the registry. The engine bits will come back later, and we'll have to talk about that a little bit more in depth.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Can I use a Robo Recall mod to apply for a dev grant? Comrade Headclot.
Well, Unreal Dev Grants is awesome stuff built in and with UE4, so in and around UE4. So
yeah,
I don't think that's outside the realm of
technically not outside of our stipulations
yeah.
of what could win you a dev grant. So,
cool.
I mean, go for it. If it's awesome enough, then I mean, that's what we're looking for. Is just awesome, you know. Let's see here. Does this build have... no, okay, I know the answer to this one. Does this build have the Steam audio integrated that Aaron McLaren was talking about during GDC and that he announced? And no, it's not in this particular stuff, but Aaron, it will be out, and he will have to come back on and talk about that because he hinted at it on the audio stream and said he couldn't delve into it further.
Aaron did a lot of audio work for this. We did take a lot of changeless back into this build. That's why I say, if you're looking for 4.16, this is not it because it's got a whole lot of, even though it says 4.16 in the begining, there's a whole lot of specialty in there.
It's a lot of custom content.
So Aaron did work on some of this stuff, but I don't know that we'll be able to leverage the full, the full breadth of all the tools that are being created right now.
All right. Bloody Bobby is asking, what is not moddable inside of the Robo Recall mod toolkit here? Can you change controller inputs even? Yeah.
So the pawn. So if I hop back to the menu, real quick, thank you. These are the core original game things that can be overridden. Now, that's not saying that you can't do some witchery that does some post-load lookups, right? So players, weapons, all the enemies, and then making your new maps. On brand new maps, you can build literally whatever you want. Really, it's pretty awesome. You can add anything that the mod kit can take and show, just like in UE4. You can build that out there. You can build a racing game if you wanted to. You could replace the pawn with whatever you want for that. Inside the game itself, you could do some things. I don't recommend it because it gets unsafe for game stability, but you could do things like post-load where I as a pawn spawn into a map. Now that I'm there, on event begin play, I look up some other information. I try to make something else happen. But these base classes here are going to make the best possible player experience with your mods inside the regular game. But if you're going to start taking the path of either a somewhat conversion and build your own maps and work that direction, you can really add whatever you want. And then a total conversion, you can really do anything you want. One of the things that I did with the Infinity Blades maps when I was there was I built a cat that would walk around that had an interaction component. That when I grabbed it, he was a gun. When I threw it, it was no longer a gun. It was just a cat again that would walk around. So you kill an enemy or you kill a robot that drops a cat too, and then there's a cat in the scene now hanging out with you. So cool things like that.
We might like cats here. It just might be a thing.
We may or may not.
All right, so next question then.
Yeah, we got a little bit more time. I think about 10 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, and then we're going to have to get out of here because people have meetings. We've got to do some other stuff. But if we don't get any of your questions on here, we'll try to get to them on the forums at forums.unrealengine.com under the events section.
Yeah, feel free to drop any other questions back in the original forum thread if we don't get to them, or even in the Robo Recall modding thread too, so other people can kind of dive in and we'll have one bleak place. So either way is good. I'll be taking a look.
Mm-hmm. is there any documentation for how to make the breakpoints on robots and custom characters? I think that you'd mentioned something about Jeff working on that.
Not necessarily for making the breakpoints on the robots, but you can take a look at biped character. Biped character is the class that all of that is set up on. If you're going to do what we did with Kalari, is we brought her in, we brought her rig in, we retargeted her to the Robo Skeleton. So all of that actually works on Kalari pretty well. It's pretty great. So you can see exactly what we did there. We replaced those specific components that are inside her as a biped character with new other blueprint meshes that are interactive components for her arm, for her leg, for her head, those kinds of things. But if you look at how we approach the biped character, take a look at the arm. You can kind of see when it's grabbed. When I'm holding it, the other interaction component comes up. And when I start pulling, there's a number of functions in there that you can kind of take a look at.
All right. Next question on here. Are there performance implications to something being a mod rather than being packaged directly into the game? That's from Nathan Sculptor VR.
No. Oh, I know Nathan. I just saw him. Hey,
cool.
how's it going?
Hi, Nathan.
No, there's not. So anything we build in the game versus anything we build as a mod, the game itself treats them exactly the same way. So if you haven't noticed, whenever you cook down an Unreal Engine game, there's this one gigantic Windows pack file that's got all of your assets in it. When you cook down a mod, it's the same thing. It's just another pack file, and we're automatically mounting those things up and adding the information to the asset registry with this version of the engine. So it's literally treating it the same way it would other content. There's no translation layer. It's content for Robo Recall.
Yep. And similar vein question as far as content for Robo Recall. Can this be used for non-VR content despite it being a VR game? And the answer is yes. You just have to strip out quite a bit and like kind of redo some of the camera stuff, don't you?
So mods themselves, I think the question is more about the content itself to build a new game with this content. I would have to check with EULA, and I have to follow up, I think, with Canon specifically on what we can do.
Being a VR game. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that does matter how you want to angle it. Like, are you saying, like, do you want to use Robo Recall as its core and then take out the VR elements where the hands are, like, always hard attached to the camera? Sure. That's not a problem. But, yeah, if it's exporting the content to be used somewhere else, that's getting into a EULA question. We'd have to have Canon come on.
And happy to follow up with that, too, if you want to
clarify on the forums.
Yeah,
that'd be really
great.
great.
We'll go from there. We'll kind of get some better answers.
Let's see here. We have quite a few questions and not so much time. I'm going to try to grab the best of these. Are the assets freeware? That is again
the assets are covered under the Robo Recall end user license agreement. This is very similar to UE4s and Unreal tournaments. So you can either read it there. That also may be a good one too to drop over in the answer hub in the legal section, because we're going to chat with Canon on it either way, and he'll probably hop in there and just kind of clarify.
Yeah, and yeah, if you've ever have legal questions, go to answers.unrealengine.com and you can submit questions to our legal team, who will answer them themselves, which is actually a really great way to get direct answers about using UE4.
I am not a lawyer.
Yeah, it's like, we're not lawyers, but there's one right over here. So yeah, we can direct you to him, and Canon is very prompt on his responses. He's if he doesn't have a quick response, then he pings me and tells me to respond to people. So we have you covered. And where is the forums where the questions are answered? Forums.unrealengine.com, and then if you scroll on the main page, you'll see events. Yeah, you can just hop on over here. Heck, you can hit submit on that page. It would make me feel good.
Let me do that. Okay.
Yeah, that way it doesn't mess up. So yeah, now we've just submitted all of those mods that we're talking about. They should be under the Robo Recall section.
What
did you wait too long and now you've killed my post?
I think so.
No.
Is the internet gone? Did we
kill the internet? Are we really here, Clint? Clint, what is reality?
So
there we go. Hopefully that post.
There's a couple places. Right up top you have events, and then this is going to cover off our
and there we are right there. That's the Robo Recall Mod Editor.
Yeah, so you can drop it into here, or you can come down here
and
into
modding.
Robo Recall under the modding section, and in here we've got projects, team up, support. And you can just drop it in here. Happy to chat. Cool. Wait, did your thing make it? Hang on.
I don't know. If you go into the Robo Recall page, is there a post there? Did we? No.
It didn't.
It
make
died.
it.
Okay, everyone. I'm
Wait,
sorry. I'm
wait,
gonna have
wait,
to
wait.
recreate my post somehow with magic, or the meshing the back button 100 times until hopefully. Oh, thank goodness, it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hopefully.
There she
Okay, now
is.
it's up.
Cool.
Now, if we go back to the main screen, turn on. There we go. This is some fancy transitions today. Thank you, Clint.
Yeah, thanks, Clint.
So yes, you can see here's where all of those things are, and I have a stray dash that I will get rid of. Do you see it there? It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
But I will get rid. I'll fix that stray dash. It's in the middle of there and all that. But yes, please go onto the forums, pick up this awesome stuff. And also, if you weren't already aware that we have these awesome forums, come to them because we have lots of answers for lots of Unreal Engine questions. If you've ever found yourself Googling a question, hey, it'll probably take you here, actually, where a lot of answers live.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
Well,
Couple more, or are we?
Oh, we
ready to roll?
have more questions, but
We'll probably get to two more.
I'm gonna we have a bunch of stuff that's gonna be technical. We're gonna have to dig into it a lot, but we're running a little
Cool.
short on time. How about this one for an ending question?
Great.
A new challenger asks, "Where do you see yourselves heading next?" And we're gonna go to the Starbucks and get some coffee after this. That's where we're going. No. Where's Robo Recall? Where is Unreal Engine and VR and Robo Recall
gosh.
and all of the exciting new future things going at this point? Do you
Yeah,
think?
that's a big question. You know.
Are we building a whole metaverse? Is that what's happening? I feel like I just spoiled something. Like there's a secret meeting where Tim's like, "Yeah, we'll build
No,
that
you know,
metaverse."
it's a good question. You know, I don't know, but we'll probably have more information on that trickling out over time, like you always do. We love VR. We're all in on it. You know, we love projects like this specifically because of it. It's got amazing design challenges and technical constraint, and those are some of the things that our developers really, we strive on those kinds of challenges, right? Like we love that work, and so hopefully really great things. Hopefully we have a lot more to share with you all soon.
Yep, I'm hoping to get maybe Ryan Brooks on to talk a little bit more about stuff too. We showed off quite a lot with the VR editor as well, so I'd like to get people
totally.
and like get Lauren in, show off a couple more things there. They've really built out a lot of stuff, and yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a very strong focus on forward thought in VR space through Unreal Engine. So yes, that's what we have for you today.
Great.
Please come by the forums if we didn't get to your question here. I'm going to try to pass all these last few of them here to you. And as per the usual, I'd like to remind everyone who is watching to follow us, like, subscribe, add us as a friend, high five us, whatever the app is, whatever the social media format you use is. Use that button that says that you like us and you want to see more content, and drop comments and let us know if you liked what you saw here today or if you want to see different kinds of content. And remember, Tuesdays are training streams, Thursdays are our news and content streams. Today was news, content, and interesting information. And Tuesday, I'm going to be having another awesome sequencer stream where Grayson Edge, who's come on previously for Sequencer, will come back on to talk about the cinematic development of Robo Recall, behind the scenes, what we learned, and he's going to show you how it was done.
Is Unreal on Farmers Meet? Not yet.
Unreal Farmers Meet. Yes. Yeah. We have quite a lot of nice John Deere tractors here that we could show off to you if you're on Farmers Meet. You know, you can hit us up on there. Through whatever social media site, please hit us up. We're also on Instagram, and I'm sure a bunch of other sites that I'm not listing off right now, but come find us. And also, make sure to sign up and send me your team info if you're going to be participating in the Q1 Spring UE4 Jam, or also if you have any cool spotlight items you want me to highlight on the community spotlight section of these live streams.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you, Clint. Thank you, Chance, for coming on today.
Yeah.
And thank you all for coming out and watching the stream. We will see you all around. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.